Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the KV-4 KTTS. It's a Tier 8 Soviet tank destroyer. It's located on the eastbourne of Sand River, and this one's under the command of the BassmanFromHell. Now this is a new tank that's only recently come into the game. It's a premium, and it's actually surprising a lot of people. Now the Soviets actually had a design for a super heavy tank, over 107 tons, really heavy, based on the KV-3 and KV-4 design. And there was a version called the KV-4 Kraslavsky, so get it right. But that was a heavy tank version. This is the TD version of the same tank. It's got a kind of semi-accurate gun, which is capable. It's a 107mm, capable of doing 360 alpha, penetrating 227 with standard rounds, and with the premium rounds, the APCR goes through to 89. Now the gun will only turn in an arc either side. It's about, if I remember correctly, it's something like 30 degrees either side. It's not the full way round, so it hasn't got the full arc on the enemy. But if you park yourself with the centre line towards the enemy, then you can reasonably attack any tank within that arc. And there is a Skoda down there below. Say it's Tier 8 and it's very new, and the Bassman is fairly impressed with it, so it must be fairly good. And I don't think he got that. No damage on the enemy yet, but we've got a lurver creeping up through the dunes. I think he's about to get a surprise. No. The armour's fairly good at the front. It's on the hull it's 200mm with 125 at the sides and 125 at the rear. On the turret it's 250mm with 125 at the sides and the rear. So very heavy armour at the front. As you can see, it's got an additional gun as well, but obviously that's not actionable in the game. Now it does have 7 degrees of gun depression. In fact, actually in the game they've given this one 5 degrees of gun depression. A fairly high ammo capacity. It carries 90 rounds of ammo, and it also has quite a decent weight, so it's very resistant to ramming. You wouldn't want to ram one of these. You would come off worse if you're below 107 tons. He's choosing his moment to go over that ridge line to deal with those, and yeah, he's going to do it now. This is the sort of thing that Steve Walst of Honest Gaming could use on a ram train. You see bouncing, well, that round went through the viewport, but that 53 TP is out the game. Okay, the FB4202 is going to suffer the same. He's going to find it very difficult to pen, and he is taking damage. That was a low roll for 274. He has lost his driver at the moment. I think he's waiting for the right moment to put his lost his gunner, rather, not his driver, to put his gunner back in. Look at that, lurver gone just like that. But it was only 54 hit points. But he could easily punch through the armor on a lurver. Now there's 2 KV-4 KTTSs in this one. The other one is Iron Man, and of course, as you know, he's normally platooned with Bassman. And oh, you can just see the top of that FB4202. He's testing his turret armor. Let's see if we can pen. No, didn't get through there, and we're not getting through. They're not getting through us either. And that was a 120mm round, that one. Oh, that's better. There was a pen there. I think that might have been Iron Man who got the pin. And he got that one. 317 to Bassman. Okay, he's decided to throw caution to the wind and drive forward, force the enemy to try and shoot over those wrecks, which they're going to find very difficult. The SU-130PM's got no armor, so he's not going to fare very well. Yep, that one went through. And that was a high roll. And now we've got the we've got the 122 TM coming up to give us support. Well, he'll have to go wide because Bassman's going to go straight forward. He's going to try and use his superior armor to get at the enemy. Yes, if they'll come around the corner, they'll probably get a hole in them. And, well, the SU-130PM just expired to the 122. Looks like we're pressuring the enemy back into their own cap area. Okay, who have we got up here? An SMVCC. Just down below us, there's some tank destroyers. Right through the front of an SMV. Just shows how strong and powerful these rounds are. That one didn't get through, and he did put one into us. Okay, get another one in. Yes, right lower plate there. Low roller. Very tough armor. That one hit the tracks. Oh, and he gets them with the next kill, next shot. So 2 kills now for Bassman. Iron Man unfortunately bit the dust whilst we were at the last ridge line, and we're going to push forward. The SU-130PM is going to take rounds. He's got no armor, so he can't withstand these shells. In fact, you can load the HE and take him out. The HE on this gun is capable of doing 420, so it would be much more preferable. Oh, he got a fire! And he got the kill. Killed the Udas 03 a long way away. There's only 4 enemies left. One of them's the Arty. We're going to try and get low by going over here. And then coming around the corner, use the ridge lines. The Camp Panzer just died. Well, Canonian Jagdpanzer rather, not the Camp Panzer. The only enemies remaining are the ELC M90 and the M40 M43. There's the ELC. And the M40's right in the corner on the riverbed. He's gone. So it's just the ELC left. They just missed him. And I think the 252U wants him. Might be able to get a hit though. He's trying to work out where he's going to go next. Oh, good shot! Low roll, but still a good hit. And the kill shot! And that wins the game for the Bassman from Hell. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first ace tanker for the Bassman from Hell in the KV-4 KTTS. He managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, just 1 short of getting that top gun, and of course 1/3 of the enemy team. He also picked up an arsonist for destroying an enemy tank by fire, as well as a shell-proof for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, as well as a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. He also picked up a couple of battle hero medals. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, as well as the steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game, at least 11 hits and over 1,000 hit points, and he certainly did that. His win rate from the game was 7,584, which is very high indeed. I think he's impressed by this KV-4 KTTS. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, the highest damage was 4,147. The second highest damage in the game actually went to the T-54 first prototype on the enemy team. 2,983 hit points to him. And the next highest damage after that was the 122 TM, who managed 2,634. We can see as well that, unfortunately, his platoon mate, Iron Man 7789, did get 1,524, but unfortunately got taken out in the dunes. When it came to kills, though, it was Bassman again with 5 kills. 4 kills to that 122 TM, who's been very handy, actually, towards the end of that battle. And 2 kills went to the Skoda T56 on his team and the T54 first prototype on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he's got that one as well, so he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,468 went to Bassman, 1,094 went to the 122 TM, and those were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000. Because Iron Man died early, he only got 743, but I think he was well on the way to getting a very high score and potentially matching Bassman's score in the end. When it came to details, 25 shots fired, 18 direct hits, 14 penetrations, 4,147 hit points of damage, of which 1,337 were up more than 300 meters. 11 hits received. Of that, 3 penetrated, 8 non-penetrations. You can see how heavy the armor is, how thick it is. 3,160 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 destroyed, and 990 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 124,785 credits in the game, and after repairs, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, he did buy some premium rounds, but look at the profit he made, 21,826 credits. 2,202 XP, 220 for this being a premium vehicle, and 2,202 from personal reserves took away 4,624 experience points altogether. So this is a very, very tough tank from the front. Let's have a quick look at the details. You can see actually it's got an arc of 45 degrees either side. I didn't put that down on my notes, but I will now. With the armor though, you can see it's actually fairly strong at the front, and with the hold down position, this is a very difficult tank to take out. The front is 175 millimeters, but it's fairly slab sided. You can see the driver's area, 200 millimeters of armor, coming up to about 210 actually. Sides of the turret, well, you can see that you're more likely to get a ricochet because the angle of that turret, the way that it pushes out, because it's a kind of turret on a turret, because this is the kind of citadel area, and here is the actual area where the gun actually rotates around, the turret within a turret, and the sides are so well angled that shells are likely to ricochet off. As you can see, it's the thickest armor, 250 millimeters, coming out at about 290. Even the gun on top is 230 millimeters, so you're going to need decent pen just to get through that gun there. So yes, very difficult to get through from the front, but you can get through it from the side with the 125 millimeters of impacted armor, and the sides of this casement here are 125. So if you've got more than 125 pen, you should be able to get through the sides of it. But if he's facing you with the front, it's difficult. The size of this top turret, again, 200 millimeters, so it's quite strong. Let's have a quick look at the live model. Well, you can see with the rounds that it actually fires, the 107 millimeter with 360 alpha, you can see that if he hides his hull, his lower hull, you're only seeing something that's extremely difficult to penetrate. So yes, try and be hull down if you can, or angle it. If you angle it, you can see a lot of this suddenly turns red, so it's very difficult. And of course, remember that you can angle the tank and still have the gun pointing towards the enemy, because you've got that 45 degrees that you can turn the turret towards them. So let's have a quick look at the modules. Well, the thing is that the KTTS Wargaming haven't actually supplied the module map for that tank, but we do have the module map for the KV-4 KTTS, which is very similar. So although there's going to be some differences, you can see that the driver's up front and he's got his driver's mate with the radio, the transmission directly in front of them, the engine's directly behind them, and it's sandwiched between two fuel tanks. We can see the gunners on the right hand side, the loaders on the left hand side, and the we can see the tank commander has got the cupola. There's an ammo rack in the bustle of the vehicle. Now it is slightly different. You can also see there's another ammo rack down below in the hull. The hull will be about the same as the KTTS. In fact, if we go back, you can see again, we're looking and you can see that it's very similar. There's no bustle as such, but there is that small turret up top. And I think that the gunner is going to be in this mini turret here, and the tank commander's either going to be on the other side or he's going to be in this one here. So yes, difficult to take this down. The loader's probably behind the left hand side on this part of the hull, but the driver, instead of being on the right hand side on this one, you can see that he's definitely on the left hand side. So it's very similar to the makeup of the KTTS or the KTTS. Try to remember the name correctly, but unfortunately it is slightly different because we don't have the module map for the KTTS just yet. So that's all I can give you. So you can see that the Bassman from Hell was very impressed with this tank. He really enjoyed himself, had a lot of fun, and I think he's probably going to be taking this one out more than a few times just to get it marked and have a bit of fun with it in platoon. If you ever see him and Iron Man working this tank, I think you're in for a tough time if they're on the enemy team. If they're not on the enemy team, you might be in for a fun time. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.